Like the chance to go to school, to work, without having to bother about political ideologies and power struggles that in reality are not relevant to their everyday lives. Young Ivorians are thankful to be moving from an era of post-election violence into an era of new enterprise and new ventures. The citizens of Guinea-Bissau would love to work in a functioning society, in a stable economy that can allow them to be productive and successful. And the youth in Nigeria would like the opportunity not to be used as pawns for the promotion of any ethno-religious ideology. As young West Africans, we might speak different languages and come from different regions, but the truth of the matter is we all have the same goals. This great institution has succeeded in blurring the lines that barricade our cultures and our countries, and currently we have the same goals, which is to succeed. So as young ECOWAS citizens, we implore you, using the capabilities of your great office, to create more opportunities for us. We would like the opportunity to be given work, meaningful work after schooling. We would like the opportunity to be schooled and enlightened by functioning universities and colleges. We Parliament to make it more authoritative and give it the legislation to make these things happen. The Parliament can transform the way our region works. Its decisions will impact the lives of all 350 million ECOWAS citizens and more. And to bring the Parliament closer to the people, perhaps we could set up mini ECOWAS clubs in schools and colleges so that even the young ones can start thinking of how they can promote the region, and they also can understand how the Parliament works and what the Parliament is doing to make a difference in their lives. For women, we could launch programs and projects that promote equal representation of women in all societies. We could also support organizations like 702 Productions, who produce the ECOWAS Peace Pageant and get us thinking in an intellectual way about how we can improve peace and development in the region. We could also set up an ECOWAS radio so that the rest of the citizenry is informed of what is going on in ECOWAS, and they also can know what ECOWAS is doing to improve their situation. Peace is achievable, yet to be able to achieve peace, we have to do the work, and young people in West Africa are ready to do the work. We've set up organizations like the Inkada Project that uses plastic bottles to build health clinics in rural areas. There are organizations like the Dr. Sapel Foundation, the Youth Kick for Your Future Project in Liberia, the Ghanaian Asheshi Youth Experience Project, the Nigerian Water for Life Project, and a host of other organizations, including Sejedrao of Benin and Burkina Faso, which are founded, funded, and managed by young people across West Africa. They're raising funds, and they're using their skills to contribute to society in a way that can improve the region, and we need your support. Africa has the youngest population in the world. The number of Africans aged between 15 to 24 will double by 2045 to 400 million people. The Africa Development Bank states that the current rate of job creation cannot keep up with the demand for jobs and the population boom. So the truth is, by that time, most of our youth will be unemployed. In West Africa, unemployment fuels political violence and rebel movements. One out of every 2 youth who have joined rebel groups cite unemployment as their reason for joining those groups. Some economists claim that Africa is currently in a state of jobless growth. And Africa's economy has been growing, but it's been growing without our youth. This is not only a security risk, but it is also a waste of our continent's most valuable resource, human intelligence and skill. And it all boils down to opportunity. Concerning youth, opportunity is the single most important factor that determines peace and stability in our region. Access to opportunity will determine if a young Sierra Leonean female grows to become the scientist who discovers the cure to AIDS, or if she grows to become the scientist who develops the next grade of illicit drugs. It will determine if a Malian youth chooses to become a rebel or a peacekeeping soldier. It determines if the next generation of Africans will largely succeed or fail. Youth today face many challenges, but at the same time, there is no excuse for young people to take part in crimes and propagate violence. We urge all youth to collaborate with governments and institutions to work towards creating stable societies. We especially call on youth facing challenging security situations in countries like Mali, Guinea-Bissau, and Nigeria to work with their governments towards finding peaceful solutions to these issues. In conclusion, we, the youth of West Africa, are passionate, we're driven, we're ready to contribute to this society, making our region stronger, more peaceful, and more prosperous. Thank you. Have a good day.
Congratulations. Well, dear colleagues, on your behalf, I would like to thank her for her very kind words for our parliament. I would like to reassure her again on your behalf that we are solidly behind the youth of this sub-region, that we are not only mindful of expansion of our powers, but also sub-region, so that they'll be able to have enough time to thrive like other young men and women all over the world. So we'll continue to support our youths and ensure that there's an atmosphere that will enable them to thrive like their counterparts all over the world. That is our commitment. So thank you so much for coming, and God bless you. Well, dear colleagues, it's now my pleasure to make the closing remarks. And I do this with a lot of mixed feelings, because in the next couple of months, it will be difficult for me to see some of you. So finally, dear colleagues, my able deputy speakers, distinguished parliamentarians, the Secretary General, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, now the curtain falls on the two I will set out to accomplish this session. I therefore congratulate you and thank you most sincerely for this achievement and for the continued cooperation, support, and dedication to the attainment of the cardinal objective of the third legislature of the Community Parliament. Let me also note with happiness and appreciation the number of our distinguished invitees who took our time to join and encourage us at the opening ceremony of this session. This includes the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Kadri Desire Quadrigo, the Vice President, Dr. Toga McIntosh, our dear commissioners, the President of the Community Court of Justice, Her Lordship, Honorable Justice Nana Awad Daboya, represented by the Vice President of the Community Court, Honorable Justice Ramos Benfito. I also wish to acknowledge with gratitude the presence of the President of the Nigerian Senate, His Excellency Senator David Mark, who was represented by the Deputy Senate Leader, Senator Abdou Ningi. The Speaker of the Parliament of Mali, Honorable Yunusi Traore, the Director General of the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GIABA, Dr. Abdullahi Shehu, and the Executive Secretary of the African Capacity Building Foundation, Dr. Franny Luthier, represented by the Director General of the National Institute for Legislative Studies in Abuja, Dr. Ladi Hamalai. Others by the doing of the ECOWAS ambassadors accredited to Nigeria, members of the diplomatic corps, our development partners working with our parliament. I must admit that there has been greater and more positive perception of the community parliament, both among ECOWAS institutions and even beyond. We are sincerely encouraged by their solidarity and kind words of support. Our resolve is to improve the performance and visibility of this Parliament over and above how we met it nearly 2 years ago. Dear colleagues, this solidarity could not have been expressed in a better way than the great support we are currently receiving towards the actualization of the enhancement of the powers of the Parliament. This is further demonstrated by the strict adherence to the Accra roadmap for the enhancement of the powers of the Parliament. Only last week, the financial chain team met and considered the financial budget and draft organogram component of the Draft Legislative Act for the enhancement of powers of the Parliament, and progress has been made in this regard. I wish to observe with delight and satisfaction that this Parliament has continued to enjoy the democratic and reformist credentials of the Chairman of the Authority of the Heads of State and Government, His Excellency President Alassane Ouattara, and our partner in progress, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Kedre Desire Quadrego. Our collective verdict is that with such distinguished minds and change agents at the helm of affairs in the community, the sub-region is certainly on a course to actualizing the ECOWAS Vision 2020. We will indeed continue to be indebted in gratitude to them and other compatriots. On the same note, the Parliament paid a working visit to the Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Olubenga Ashiru, to brief him and solicit the further support of the people and government of Nigeria on the enhancement of powers of Parliament. His assurance, coupled with the commitment of His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan during the inauguration of this state legislature on 11th August 2011, and the support of the National Assembly of Nigeria, goes to show that we have strong support in Nigeria, a major player in the affairs of the sub-region. We will therefore continue to appreciate and count on their support. However, honorable colleagues, we must not be carried away by the silver linings on the sky. As earlier stated during the opening session, we must not relent in our advocacy efforts and in being the ambassadors of the community parliament and this project in our various countries and other spheres of influence in the community. He whose work has not finished does not rush to sleep. Meanwhile, dear colleagues, as I mentioned in the beginning, this has been a rewarding session. I'm happy that we're able to consider and approve all the 5 referrals sent to us by the ECOWAS Commission, namely the ECOWAS Security and Administrative and General Conditions on Social Arrangements, the Supplementary Act on Social Dialogue Forum, Regional Action Plan on Youth Employment, Regional Action Plan Against Child Labor, and the Draft Supplementary Act relating to the establishment and implementation of joint border posts within member states. I appreciate our thoroughness and passionateness in the consideration of the referrals to consolidate our march towards a more democratic, secure, peaceful, and caring community. Honorable colleagues, the Ad Hoc Committee on the Political Crisis in Mali and Guinea-Bissau has rounded off its work, and I would like to thank them. The committee made valuable recommendations which led to the courageous resolutions adopted by this Parliament today. I can assure you that the resolutions will be forwarded to the appropriate quarters in earnest. It is our hope that the various ECOWAS institutions and organs, as well as various parties and stakeholders within and outside the sub-region, will work to ensure the implementation of those resolutions. The voice of the people is the voice of the gods. And as the voice of the people of the sub-region, this Parliament has, by its resolution, restated its opposition to every form of forceful takeover of government, every impunity, militancy, terrorism, and insurgency in the sub-region. The Community Parliament will therefore continue to condemn and avail every necessary support and ideas to ensure that all such rascality have no foothold in West Africa. We will continue to mobilize local and international support against all such acts because they are inimical to our collective interests and the future we want to build. Importantly, since these are deviants live among us, I urge our people to cooperate with security agents to put a stop to it. In all nooks and crannies that such evil, anti-social and anti-democratic tendencies conspire, let all good men continue to congregate to say enough is enough. In that spirit, I wish to, on your behalf, express the full support of the ECOWAS Parliament to the government of Nigeria in declaring a state of emergency in 3 states, namely Yobe, Borno, and Adamawa. We support it in taking every necessary and legitimate measure to contain terrorism in Nigeria. We believe that Nigeria is at the forefront of the fight against terrorism in the sub-region. Therefore, she must, as a matter of fact, wage successful war against terrorism in her territory to be able to assist fight terrorism and insurgency in other parts of West Africa. Dear colleagues, I commend the plans by the ECOWAS to ensure a more effective management of our borders as contained in the Draft Supplementary Act related to establishment and implementation of joint border posts within member states. But, in addition, and very importantly too, I wish to call for greater cooperation between ECOWAS and the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC, to contain and crush all forms of insurgency and terrorism in their member states. Because these are transnational crimes, receiving and giving assistance across national borders, a summit of the heads of states and government of both communities has become imperative to appraise the security situation and build better synergy in combating our common enemies. There's need for greater cooperation in intelligence sharing and transborder security. This is made even more urgent given that the porosity of our borders makes it possible for these criminals to recruit manpower or attack from neighboring countries. For instance, while Nigeria has taken the right step in declaring a state of emergency in 3 states in our territory, my worry is that unless member nations of both regional blocs urgently work more strategically to manage our borders, their porous nature could make it easier for terrorists and insurgents to elude security agencies. It could make it easier for the merchants of death and pandemonium to slip into neighboring countries, including some CEMAC member states, when their security agencies turn the heat on them, but only to return to their dastardly business when it is conducive again. Therefore, the two blocs must work together and simultaneously to smoke these soldiers out and make sure that they have no safe harbors in the whole of both West and Central Africa. Meanwhile, as we wind up the 2013 First Ordinary Session, I implore you to continue to work